up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. So we're going to talk about something tonight that I think some people are going to get pissed about because the scientific community always seems to think that they know better. Like they are the fucking rulers of the goddamn fitness world. And they know better and they scoff at other people. They fucking make fun of them. They fucking sit in their ivory towers, which is really not an ivory tower, but they sit up there and they make fun of other people and they call them names. They laugh at them. They berate them. And realistically, these scientific buffs, we'll call them, they may look okay. They may even look good. But they didn't get there any faster, efficient, or optimally than anyone else did. Especially not a bro. Now, I'm going to give you guys a good example of why it's okay to not know the science behind things. As a matter of fact, it's okay to sometimes not know shit. As long as you have your form down, you enjoy working out. Sometimes those motherfuckers are going to beat the shit out of the science people too. Yeah, regardless, here. So we're even going to take like the drug aspect because people start pointing fingers like, if a bro gets better results than a science guy, he's on fucking steroids. Well, you don't think these fucking science guys use steroids? Get the fuck out of my face. They all fucking take them, but regardless. So a natural person, somebody who never took a steroid or even a supplement in their entire life. And this story is going to go back to like 7 years, 8 years. Going back a little way. Anyway, Joseph Glore. You guys know him as Joey Glore. He was a buddy of mine. He was on MTV's Real Life, or was it Made? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was on the MTV show where they took these kids that were leaving high school. They had just graduated high school. They were going to college in like 3 months, and they were severely overweight. They were obese. And what they would do is they would hook them up with these trainers, and then MTV would follow them around as they were on their diets, and they would see their results at the end. And all of them lost weight. They looked better, looked great. And Joey Glore was one of these trainers that was on MTV. Now, I remember watching all of them, and I was like really impressed with most of these kids because they started out really not wanting to do this shit and fucking really lazy and really out of shape. And they just pretty much sucked at everything except fucking video games. I mean, that's pretty much like where they ran with it. But there was this one kid, right, that Joey was training. And he like brought him to the beach. I mean, this kid was like, he was on a hard time fucking moving around at like 17, 18, whatever he was. He couldn't move around, let alone fucking exercise. It was pretty bad. So he brought him to like the beach and had him like running on the beach. The kid was like fucking collapsing and puking. It was a fucking mess. So you watch this, and I think this was, you know, Joey really was impressed with this kid. I remember seeing the look on his face when they did the final weigh-in. And after 3 months, this kid who didn't take steroids, who exercised but didn't go fucking crazy, like it wasn't like the Biggest Loser, and dieted, lost 100 fucking pounds in 3 months. Now, I don't know how many of you out there have tried to lose fat and how fast you tried to do it, but the most I've come down is 60 pounds in 12 weeks. So this kid outdid me, and I had knowledge. I was taking steroids. I was using clenbuterol. I was doing growth hormone. I was doing the things I needed to do. 60 pounds still came off me, and he got 100 pounds off, right? And as I'm watching this, like, I was floored by the final weigh-in. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I'm like, is there a world record? Because that's got to be fucking close, right? Like, what the fuck? It's crazy, right? And the kid actually remembered him saying, he's like, well, is that good? Is that good? He was excited, but he's like, is that good? Did I do good? And Joey was like, good Lord, yes, you did good. That's amazing. Like, do you know how many people can't do that? Like, almost everyone couldn't do what you just did. So he starts asking the kid about his frame of mind and stuff, right? And what it really boiled down to, Joey looks at him and he says, do you know why you lost 100 pounds? And the kid goes, no. He goes, because you didn't know that you couldn't lose 100 pounds. It wasn't already programmed in your head that you couldn't do it. So therefore, you went out, gave it your all. And he said, well, I got a little more to give. And he pushed a little bit harder. And he stuck to his diet. He said, I feel like giving in, but I'm not going to give in. And he did his shit. And at the end, he was 100 pounds down. Now, another person, the same exact situation, who learns that you're only supposed to lose 2 pounds a week through science, through studies, through data. 1.5 to 2 pounds a week is safe. It's this, it's that. Many of those people never even accomplished the goal long-term, years-wise. This kid did it in 3 months. Now, here's the problem that I have with the scientific data, the studies. If you look at one study, it'll say this. You look at another study, says this. They contradict each other all the fucking time. All the time. There is nothing out there where there's just one study that says this is absolute. There's always something that contradicts it 100% in the other direction and everything in between because you have genetic outliers and stuff. But the problem is, once you are programmed, you will follow that program. Whether you know it or not, subconsciously, you will follow that program. If someone tells you 1.5 to 2 pounds is what you should be doing because that's the max, because we hear that, that's the max you should lose. They're usually not going to lose 2 pounds, which is the actual max, right? They're going to lose 1.5, 1. They're going to hit within a range of about 50% of what they actually could do because they got it in their head that 2 pounds is the max, while this other kid was losing 4 or 5 pounds a week because he didn't know, he didn't have anything programmed in his head to let him know that that couldn't be done. So that alone, when I watched that, because it's something that I already knew, right? I have friends that they would sit down and they would write out their whole program, and then at times this and the volume and workload and the fucking attendance. They have all this shit written in their journal. I'm like, well, cool. I mean, that's cool that you keep track of that, but fuck it. I mean, I'm going to train instinctively, but whatever. And then they go in the gym and they fucking do everything by the calculations. Now, here's the thing. People will point to Dorian Yates and say, well, Dorian Yates did that and look at what he did. Ronnie Coleman didn't do that shit and look what he did, right? What I'm talking about is Dorian Yates wrote stuff down and he looked up things scientifically to find a starting point to where he should begin in his journey. But Dorian didn't stick to only science, because science actually dictated that faster, more explosive movements build muscle faster. Dorian was very big on the negative. So there's 2 different aspects, the slow negative or a fast negative, and they know now that the fast twitch muscle fibers, actually it really doesn't matter whether you go slow or fast, but the faster you go, it puts more tension on the muscle in a shorter period of time, which fires those fibers in order, which gets to those type 2 fibers, which makes you grow faster. Very Ronnie Coleman-like, except for his major power movements, which he did very slow. But Dorian did everything with the slow negatives. So it was like he used some science based on calculations that you're doing calories in, calories out. Dorian was a genetic freak. But his training was not necessarily what people talk about nowadays. It was the science back then. Science has actually changed nowadays from when Dorian did his shit. So if Dorian actually started his bodybuilding now, he would have a different form of science or different set of scientific rules to follow than they had back then. But it worked out just fine for Dorian. So when you look at these guys who go in there and train instinctively, right? I've heard people say, well, I go in and I train and I see if I'm sore the next day. And if I'm sore the next day, then I just do that same workout the next week until I'm not sore anymore. Very instinctive. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to grow, but these guys get better results. I've seen people say, well, I walk in the gym and I just keep training till the muscle's exhausted. Right? Which is not a scientific way, because let's face facts. You can exhaust that shit all you want doing light weights with 55, 60 reps. You're going to be exhausted at the end of the workout, but you haven't triggered any growth because there's no actual progression that you're using to try to get the body to adapt to a heavier weight. I've had people go in the gym and say, I train until the muscle goes numb. I personally like to train like that. When the muscle starts to go numb and I can't really contract it anymore, I get out of the gym. Right? To me, that is something that I have found when that happens to me, I grow better. But I'm not saying like it's the only way to do it, but I'm saying I found like for me, instinctually, that is one way that I can tell whether or not I triggered growth and get out of the gym. So I step back and I go, so every single time I've seen somebody not use science, not only have they progressed, they may have to experiment a little while to find out what works for them, but not only do they progress, but they progress faster than these people using the science. And the science is constantly changing and evolving. So just when you think you got fucking the answer, 3 months from now, another study comes out and says that that's not the answer. And what's interesting is people discard that and they go, well, the new science says. I'm like, but the new science, but you were getting results with that one. How do you know that this one's going to be any better? Then they try the new science and it actually doesn't work as better as the old one. But it doesn't work as good as the old one, but they don't go back to the old one because the new science dictates that that's how it's done. I'm like, but you got better results the other way. Why the fuck would you do something that doesn't work as good because a fucking study said it? Like, here's the deal. The study said this worked on this many people. There's 300 people and 285 it worked on. What if you're the other fucking 15, you knucklehead? You don't even stop to think that shit. All you stop to think is, well, the new science must apply to me. How the fuck do you know that you're not the one that it doesn't apply to? So I'm telling you right now, as you're training, that shit doesn't apply to you the way you were training before does. And if you're not stuck inside the science box and you are training instinctively and you're learning your body, you're learning more. And don't get me wrong, science does play into it. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's good to have that knowledge. I mean, technically knowing how proteins, carbs, and fats work is science, right? But there's not a single way that you can go in the gym that science can tell you how to train. There isn't a single way that you can go to the dinner table and science can tell you how to eat. I literally had a conversation with somebody last night about keto. And they were like, well, keto long-term is bad for you. So where the fuck did you hear that? Well, study says this. I said, really? Because there's another study over here and plenty of studies that say that it's not bad for you. Matter of fact, did you know now that new studies, and I cannot remember this doctor's name. I apologize, doc, for not remembering your name. But this woman out of Sweden actually wrote a book about keto. And she sent me the book to review because some of what I was saying is in the book. And she took what I was saying and found research that said that fats should be lower, protein should be higher, and the fats themselves should not be saturated fats all the way through the diet, but poly and monounsaturated. Now, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're eating poly and monounsaturated fats for the next 10 years, 99.9%, unless you get some kind of weird fucking genetic problem, you're going to be fine. But if you're the asshole who's eating salami and hot dogs and all this bullshit, guess what? Down the road, you're going to be fucked. So it's not necessarily just the science. Like, there's other things that go into why those things turned out the way they did in the studies. But I've never seen, and don't get me wrong, bros, they'll listen. Like, if somebody is telling them science, I'll sit down and be like, fuck yeah, okay, cool. Wow, that's cool. I didn't know that, right? But why will a scientific type person, I don't know, a science guy, I don't even know what to call them, wingnuts I used to call them. How come when the wingnuts sit down and a fucking bro tries to say something to them that obviously worked for them and like 20 of their clients, the fucking science wingnut has to go, no, that's impossible because, and you're like, but it fucking worked. Like, wow, it's impossible. How is it impossible? It fucking worked. And I bet you if that science person sat down and went through the fucking literature and all the data again, there's going to be 1 or 2 minimum, maybe even more, that got the results the fucking bro was talking about. But they'll say it's absolutely impossible because the majority of people, what the fuck? We're all individuals. Fuck majority. Who gives a shit? Like, that's cookie cutter shit. Science is cookie cutter shit. Bro is individual customized shit. That's how it works. When these motherfuckers come out and talk about, oh, don't go with that guy, he's a cookie cutter fucking programs. What do you think this science shit is? They plug everybody's shit in and print out the fucking same program. Because everybody's body works the same way, because that's what the fucking study said. It's not customized. It's not fucking original. It's not fucking real. It's the same cookie cutter bullshit that science people put together and give you because it's science. They have you training like her and her training like him and him training like them. What? But they literally will look you in the face and be like, oh, you're so bro. You're fucking stupid. You didn't follow science. You didn't know science. So stupid, bro. And you're like, I look better. I got better results. My clients get better results. The fuck are you talking about? Your clients suck. I'm watching them. They fucking suck. Like, they're failing miserably. Why the fuck are you continuing to do this cookie cutter shit? But then they call attention away from themselves talking about other people's cookie cutter shit, right? That person gives a cookie cutter. This person gives a cookie cutter. Those motherfuckers are following a scientific thing that they didn't invent. They have fucking no idea what it was. But that's why they're fucking giving them the programs, because fucking some scientist said to do it. Some fucking nutritionist said to do it. But what about all the fucking different people? What about all the genetic differences and the fucking, the metabolism differences and the fucking rate of growth and the rate of strength? What about all those differences? Well, science says that the optimal way to train is like this. Well, there is no fucking optimal way to train, period. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Bottom line is, if you get it in your head that you can't do something, you're not going to do it. If you get it in your head that you can, you will. If you don't even know that you can or can't, or you should or shouldn't, you're supposed to or not supposed to, guess what? If you go in there and fucking give it your all, 99% of the time you'll get further than you would have if you fucking studied that subject or fucking really tried to learn the science. So in closing, guys, I can't stress this enough for all you young guys that are out there that are like really holding off on fucking really killing it in the gym because you're trying to look up all this research and you're switching your workouts every fucking workout because of a new study. You read a new study about beta-alanine that does nothing, and all these science guys love it. It does nothing. Nothing. There isn't one fucking person I've met in 27 years that said, I took beta-alanine and it fucking worked and did great things for me. Not one. Not a single fucking person. Take beta-alanine by itself. See what you get. Nothing. But science says that beta-alanine does blah, 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 blah. So these motherfuckers recommend it to everybody, even though it doesn't work. And then you guys listen to them. Like, they're telling you to do shit that fucking is just literally a cookie cutter thing, and half the shit doesn't fucking work. Why do you keep following it? Why don't you literally just be yourself, be an individual, and let all the science fucking group of wingnuts fucking hang out in their little crew? You do your own thing, because in the long run, you're going to stand next to one of those motherfuckers on stage and you're going to whoop their ass. Or you're going to be in the gym and they're going to be stuck at 225 and you're going to be benching 315. Or they're going to be fucking measuring their little 16-inch arms and you're measuring yours at fucking 19. That's what's going to happen if you fucking apply yourself and don't worry about what the fuck everybody else is doing and what the new paper says that was published this morning in the Journal of fucking Crazy Bodybuilding Medicine of how you should do things now. Because a month from now, there's going to be a different study. So just keep it to like Joey Glor's client. And don't fucking pay. You want to look at it and stuff, but don't look at it as gospel. My advice, honestly, is if you want to learn how to train, learn good form, learn about how the muscle fibers work, right? Learn about, how the macros work, learn about how things work in general, and go in the gym and be your own experiment, because you will get further that way every single fucking time. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BioStrengthTraining.com is the blog. It's the Go Bro Bicep, and we are out.